Hi, I'm Ashley Anda and I teach philosophy at Heartland, and today I'm going to show you Whiteboard Fox, which can be found here, whiteboardfox.com. I'm categorizing this tool as a communication interaction tool. It's also good for presence. As you can see, it kind of looks like a whiteboard, and you have your drawing features. You've got some different colors. You can zoom in and out, add text, add pictures, share it with other people, and take a snapshot of your final product. So actually there aren't that many things you can do with it, but I think that's kind of nice because, I think board work is important in face-to-face classes, and so if we can kind of bring that over to online, it could be useful for some students. I also think it's nice for presence purposes because the students will be familiar with my handwriting, my silly and creepy little pictures that I like to draw. Some of my pictures are useful, I think. And so I think that it kind of, can help them get to know me better and later each other better when they do some small, easy assignments here in Whiteboard Fox. This doesn't cost anything. It's free, so that's really nice. It's easy. I think it's easy because it doesn't have a bunch of features. It's really just like getting a whiteboard into the online learning environment. So, there's not a bunch you can mess up here unless you press clear and you accidentally press OK and you delete all your work. But hopefully, not lots of us end up doing that. You don't have to download anything. So if you go to whiteboardfox.com, this is what you get. You can just click on Start Drawing. You choose who can edit it, any participant or just yourself. A maximum of 10 per whiteboard is allowed, which I think is actually okay because you could put, small groups into different whiteboards if you were having, people doing an interactive or collaborative assignment. So that's kind of nice. I think that this is really good for familiarity. I kind of already mentioned that, it's kind of nice to get familiar with your professor's handwriting and get used to the kinds of things that they do and see how they think. And so I think that it's really just good for community building and presence and getting them familiar with, kind of more about me, I suppose. Let's go over here. I have one specific assignment in mind that pertains to how this tool can help students meet a learning outcome. So usually I do this history of philosophy presentation, and this is one of many more slides that shows them the major historical periods of philosophy. And so we can go over to my course map over here. One of the first learning outcomes is to define the prominent subdisciplines of philosophy and distinguish the main questions of those particular subdisciplines. So they can go into their own whiteboard and they can recreate the timeline. I imagine it'd look pretty cool if they, used the add pic feature because they could add some pictures from the period. They could add text if they, wanted to type because they don't have, a touchscreen device, or because using the mouse is like a bit tricky when you're typing or trying to draw, letters. So I think that it would just be a more engaging way of showing me that they, thought about the timeline and tried to make it their own. So that could be pretty cool. Let's go up here. So the next thing is, I had to think about how would this enhance UDL. I think that, excuse me. I think that this tool, especially in an online setting, quite obviously presents the students with a new means of representation, expression, and engagement. So they're not just typing, into a discussion board or writing a paper or taking a quiz. They can actually draw or insert pictures or kind of make, a mind map without like being in a mapping tool. And it's engaging because I suspect that at least some of them will, try to write, and I'll get to see their handwriting and kind of, get to see what I think is a more personalized assignment coming from the students. So finally, a benefit of this is that it's simple. There aren't a bunch of things you can do with it. It's really just like having a whiteboard, in your online class. A disadvantage of this is I think that, there are accessibility issues. So if you don't have a touch screen, this is a little bit harder to use. You can use a mouse, and of course, instead of drawing your letters, you can use a text box. So you can enter the text and then you drag it to wherever you want it to be. You can add pictures. So I still think that this has nice features that can be used across devices, but I do acknowledge that it could be less fun if it's more difficult for the students who don't have a touchscreen, like a tablet or a touchscreen laptop or something like that. So that is really all that I'm going to show you, because that's really all I can show you since there are so few tools. But I do quite like it, and I think that it's really important to me to try to think more about how I can build my presence in my class personally, because I've been worried about that, and I think this is just one small way that I can do that. Thank you.